Okay, so our next guest is AG. AG is the CEO of Real Acquisitions and owner of a portfolio of residential and commercial properties all across Texas. AG is a technology expert and frequently speaks on better ways of acquiring and constructing real estate. So, welcome, AG. Thank you for joining us. The floor is all yours.
Alrighty, thank you guys. Thank you for having me on there, man. What a power lineup of speakers! And thanks for the entire EXP team for putting this whole thing together. How's my audio and video? This thing does not have a feedback, so I want to make sure you guys can see me. I want to
Yes,
make
we
sure you
can
guys
see
can hear
you,
me.
we can hear you. It's great.
Excellent. Alrighty. So again, thank you so much, EXP team, for having us on there. We're gonna have some fun. We'll talk about a few cool concepts. I know Chris has given me give or take about 2 hours, so I'll be quick. Messing with you guys.
Oh,
So I have about 15 minutes. I have to return this jacket right around 2 o'clock. So we'll be quick. We'll have some fun. We'll talk about some cool concepts. Okay. So again, folks, my name is AG. I run a company out of Texas called Real Acquisitions. I'm also a managing partner in a development and construction company called Alexander Green. We'll talk about some of that stuff in a few minutes. But let me begin by saying how excited I am. I really don't get an opportunity to speak in front of agents too many times. So when I do that, it's always fun. A lot of my construction business, my rehab business, back in the day, my wholesaling business has been. Agents have been absolutely instrumental in helping us transact and form our operations. We're very, very thankful. So let's get right into it. Uh, one thing, one ground rule. I know some of these Zoom, some of these StreamYard type things can be extremely non-engaging. So what I highly appreciate, and I really implore you guys to do that, even though we are doing it offline, I like to imagine in my mind you're sitting in front of me and we're interacting with each other. I like playing these mind games with myself. Makes me make this a more fun and engaging way of talking to you. So if I may request, please engage. Please post comments. Please ask questions. I know we will have about 5 minutes towards the end to get deeper into your questions, but please engage. Don't make this a monotonous thing. We'll have some fun today. This is a little about me and my family. My wife is an oil and gas executive. She's been in the business for a long, long time. I've been in real estate now. I'll give you a little brief career about my background in a moment. And that's I'm a 9-year-old, actually 10-year-old son. In fact, he corrected me the other day. I was speaking and he nudged me and said, "Dude, I'm 10. I'm not 9 anymore." So how these kids go like weeds. Uh, a little bit back about my background. I started Real Acquisitions, my real estate operations in 2009. Real Acquisitions is primarily a data company where we provide all kinds of tools and data to real estate investors and real estate agents. Our core offering for years, now coming up on 11 years, has been how do you find motivated seller the fastest, the cheapest before anyone else. That's been a core offering, that's been a core products that we've been offering for all these years. We'll talk about more of that in a moment. In 2010 around, I got involved in wholesaling. That was the year that if anyone was in the business at the time, a lot of out of state, out of town hedge funds and Wall Street buyers came in a market, and we were wholesaling a lot to these guys at the time. Between 2010 and 2013, about 2.5 years, we wholesaled a few hundred wholesale deals to these guys. But keep in mind, the wholesale fee at that time was not like it is today, where our assignment fee was like $10,000, $20,000. Assignment fee, a wholesale fee, was significantly less, but still we made a lot of money at the time. But 2013, I sold a 22 unit apartment complex to an investor. And a life changing event, which I like to think of a life changing event, happened in my life at the time, where the banker who financed the deal for the investor sat me down at the closing table and said, Listen, do you realize what you just did? You made about, I think I made about 50 grand in assignment fee at the time, which was the largest assignment fee I'd ever made in my life at that time. And it said, I'm sure you're excited about this 50 grand that you've made, but do you realize, as a wholesaler, as a transactional person, you've made my client approximately $2 million on these transactions? 50 grand, 2 million. And you could have made that money if you understood how to buy and hold real estate. And that's exactly what my wife and I did. 2013, we pulled our sleeves and we decided to jump all into buy and hold. Between 2013, 2015, give or take about 30 months. We purchased right here in H-Town, in a lovely backyard. We purchased 92 doors right here in Houston, Texas, which really became the backbone of my financial, I guess, success, or my financial future. And if my family treats it right, hopefully, at least next two generations are taken care of. And I'm very passionate about talking about that. I heard Chris mention that briefly, that most people do not talk about buy and holds, because that's where wealth is really built. 2016, we came back and we started stabilizing our real estate portfolio. We'll talk about that briefly. But we also jumped into the other side of real estate, which many people shy away from, which is heavy construction. Heavy construction meaning ground up luxury or ground up commercial projects. So we started doing that. We've built about 28 homes in Houston, luxury homes in Houston so far. And since 2018, we've also been getting into building small multi-family as well as strip centers. So that's a little bit about my background. And of course, my favorite thing to do of all times is adding value to investors, adding value to agents. This is a Real Acquisitions meeting that we had. Literally, we call it the COVID week in retrospect. This was the last big meeting that I believe we had in Houston. This was right around March of 2020. Sounds like such a far away time, but just barely a year ago. 500 plus investors. That's what we used to do. We loved getting up and speaking. But all of that is a different world today, right? In many ways, a better world. In many other ways, not so much fun anymore. Now, a quick pop quiz. I'm going to show some names on the screen, and I want you to very quickly tell me what's common between these people. Look at your screen and tell me what's common between all of these folks that you're seeing. Some of these people, I'm sure you know very well, especially if you're from Houston. Our very own Brian Phillips. A small showing. The most common thing, amongst other wonderful things that they're in real estate, is that all of these guys have been Real Acquisitions clients. The strategies that we'll jump into today, the strategies that we'll talk about today, are the things that we work with all of these stellar folks that you see on the screen, probably hundreds of millions of dollars worth of business on the screen. So the things that we'll be talking about for the next few minutes, they're absolutely relevant, they're absolutely potent to making a huge difference in your business. All I ask for is undivided attention and engagement. Don't this be one of those things that's running in the background while you're checking your email or doing something like that, okay? So I'll teach by primarily going through two case studies. Two case studies that I'll be showing you, that I'll be walking through on what or how these strategies really play. So the first case study is of a good friend of mine, Roy and Yesenia, local folks right here from Houston, Texas. And here's a classic problem that they came to us with a couple of years ago. And that's really a wonderful learning if you understand, if you wrap your head around what I'm about to talk to you in the next couple of minutes. So Yesenia comes to me and says, AG, here's a problem. I'm on my way to becoming a real estate investor. I'm also considering getting a real estate license, building my career as a real estate person. And you know what? I have taken coaching. I've paid a coach. I think she paid somebody 20 grand to take real estate coaching. I've been to all these millions of seminars. I've read books. I've seen CDs. I've heard all of these podcasts. And almost 1 year into all of these things, guess how many deals I've done so far? Zero. Her family and she had done 0 deals. Did she have fear of action? No. Wonderfully confident people. Was she financially feasible, meaning was she bankable? Yes. Did she have the ability to roll up in sleeves and do hard work? Yes. She had all the boxes. Then why isn't it that her business was taken off? And it's a recurring theme that I've seen again and again and again with real estate agents, real estate brokers, and of course, real estate investors. And you know what the theme is? They fail to focus on the only skill that matters to a real estate professional when they're starting out. The only skill. And by the way, I say starting out, I honestly want to tell you that now this is my 14th year in real estate business. It is still the only skill that really matters. All the skills are important, but nothing compares to this skill that I really want you to focus and understand. And that skill, my friends, is the ability to find and identify deals. Where and how do you identify deals? And this is why it's important. Look at this chart on your screen right now. I'll summarize this very quickly for you guys. What it essentially means is almost 60% properties in hot markets and almost 40% properties in all other markets receive multiple offers when listed on the MLS. When listed on the MLS, 60% to 40% properties are receiving multiple offers. No wonder investors and agents cannot get their hands on deals. No wonder it has become such a competitive space. This is the reason why I want to talk to you for the next couple of minutes about doing the following thing, okay? I like to call this strategy as hyper marketing. Hyper marketing. So I'm going to stop my PowerPoint for a second, and I want to show you something super cool. I'm going to hop onto Real Acquisitions. I want to show you something really, really, really relevant to what I hope will make a significant impact. It'll change the way you think about deal finding in the next couple of minutes, okay? Now, all of you guys are absolutely welcome to hop onto Real Acquisitions at your own convenience. You can go there anytime. Click on the watch demo that you see right here. And the things that I'm seeing, that I'm showing you, you should be able to get a glimpse, some idea of what I'm about to show you, okay? So feel free to do this if you're watching this, a recording of this, or you're seeing it non-live. Now, I'll skip through all this. This is not necessarily a demo. I'm going to go ahead and click on this little button on the left that says Create Lists. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this one-time list. And we'll stay here for the next couple of minutes. So have fun with me. What I'm showing you right now in the market is, and if you are on the call right now, can anyone post in the comments how many active residential deals do we have? How many active residentials do we have on the MLS today? Who can tell me how many residential actives do we have on the MLS today approximately? Do not cheat, do not look, give me an approximate number. If you don't know, the answer is approximately plus minus about 15,000. We are here in Houston, Texas. I'm talking about HAR, our local MLS, about 15,000 residential actives plus minus, okay? Listen to this, check this out. 15,000 actives in the market that everyone is going crazy for. And right here on your screen, you have over 100,000 properties right here locally that have one or multiple forms of property tax distress. Almost 30,000 pre-foreclosures. 82,000 out-of-state owners. 300,000 absentee, non-occupied property owners with 10 years of ownership, meaning high equity, and on and on and on and on and on. And this world, my friends, what we'll talk about for the next couple of minutes, this world is called off market. And that's exactly what we work with Roy in Yesenia, in making them understand that if you want to build your real estate business, the foundation of all of these things begins by finding deals. And this is how you find deals. So let's take a live example while I have you on the screen, and let's pull up a live deal right now. I'm going to go ahead. I'm in Harris County. And I'm going to go ahead and pull one of the most popular zip codes in Harris County. This could be obviously be a neighborhood, a school zone, or whatever. And we'll go ahead and pick, let's say 77074. Ready? In 77074, wonderful rental market in this part of town. In 77074, how many single family homes do I have total? Probably 10,000 plus, that are owned by absentee owners. Two criteria. Who have owned these homes for at least 10 years. Third criteria. That as of this moment are in one or multiple forms of tax distress. 4 more criteria. So we're now up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 criteria. And on top of that, are not listed on the MLS. 8. You see what I've done here? In a matter of seconds, let's run this list. This will probably run for a couple of minutes, but in a matter of seconds, I've stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked and built a highly potent, highly narrowed, or what is called as a hyper focused list in one part of town, one of the most desirable rental markets in Houston. Of course, if you're a flipper, you'll be looking at a flip market. If you are a developer or builder like me, you'll be looking at some premium lots and whatnot. So what do we have? We have 22 out of thousands, hundreds of thousands of properties. I've narrowed down the 22 juiciest, the 22 lowest hanging fruit on the tree. Let's pick one. Let's pick Darnell Circle. What would I do with this property? I would text this person. I would email this person. Obviously, if this property is off market, right? So as an agent, you can absolutely, as an investor, you can absolutely do that. I would send a FedEx envelope to this person. I would reach out to this person on his social media. If the deal is right, I would probably send somebody or myself go and knock on the door. I would skip trace this person, pull up all this information about this person right here. And you can do that with one click of a button. One click where it says Power Trace. You can pull up all the information that I just mentioned, emails, cell phone numbers, landline numbers, social media profiles with one click. So, and again, what have we done? We have narrowed, and developed the most potent list that you should be going after. That's case study number, or the idea number 1. I hope that stays with you, okay? Before we move to case study number 2. What do we do next? So this strategy, as I said, is a strategy, the skill of finding deals. Specifically, what we looked into is the ability to do hyper marketing. We took a deeper dive. And again, I just took tax properties, right? I could have done probates, foreclosures, divorces, city violations, vacant homes. All of those are there on Real Acquisitions. And with a click of a button, you can combine these things and create a really potent, super small, hyper-marketed, hyper-focused list. Okay, case study number 2. I like to call it the new rules of the game. The new rules of the game. What do I mean by that? Very simple, my friends. Imagine today, if I have to book an appointment to call you or speak with you, let's say a week from now, next Thursday at 10 a.m. Can you imagine me writing it down on a piece of paper, sticking it in my schedule book, remembering it for a week, and a week later going through my Rolodex, pulling up your name and your number, taking out my phone, and then calling 7, 1. Can you imagine us doing it something like that today? But yet, so many people run their businesses like that. The name of the game today, my friends, is automations. Today, if you want to schedule a call with me or yourself next week at 10 a.m., you'll pick up your phone and you'll say, "Hey Siri, schedule a call with John at 10 a.m. on next Thursday." And guess what? She'll place the call next Thursday and connect you. That's the way systems and automations are meant to work. Yet so many agents, brokers, investors have not understood how any of that. Siri's actually trying to do that. I was messing with you, Siri. Most people have not even figured that out. Okay, so let's take a look at how you can automate the top ideas, the top themes, the top features of automating your business that absolutely adds wings to your operation.
We got like a 1 minute AG,
Back
just
to where
1
we
minute.
were. Close this, switch back to where we were. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this little button that says Housewise. Housewise, that's your marketing arm of this entire CRM. This takes me straight into my Housewise platform. And let's say take a look at how that platform looks like. Okay. And we'll talk about a few automation ideas. So think again, what did you do? You picked the most exciting, the most desirable area in your part of town. In that part of town, you then created a super focused list. In our case, we had 22 names, 22 property owners. I then skip traced that list, pull up all the information about that property owner. And now I'm building marketing, multi-channel marketing to those 22 people. Let's take a look at how we will do that. You would create marketing campaigns, okay? And that's exactly what this system is meant for. One click marketing campaigns. This is not a session where I can jump into details. In fact, towards the end, I'll tell you about a completely free 90-minute workshop that we're hosting this coming Tuesday. We'll be posting the details in a second. In fact, Chris, if you want to bring up that banner, get your free CRM.
Yeah, we got like 30 seconds left. Jamie, bring up the banner for. Can you hear me, AG?
Details, a lot of these setups, what kind of automations you need, okay? But here is the idea in a quick gist. So you would create a text blast. Here's an actual example of a text blast that we do. So just like you do an email blast, this is a text blast to all those 22 people, okay? It very simply says, hi, I'm looking to buy properties in your subdivision. Reply if you're interested in getting a full market offer, or if you know somebody else, you can get a $500 referral, whatever your marketing message is. Of course, we talk about what messages work and what messages don't work also. On Tuesday's workshop, we'll be getting into the most highest performing messaging that actually gets you responses, the anatomy, the skill in crafting those messages. We'll be talking about briefly about that too. You can obviously also do ringless voicemails. Oh, wrong screen. You can do ringless voicemails. Voice drops on their phone. Phone never rings. You simply get a voicemail with your message. You can, of course, do the classic traditional email blast where you send a large blast of things, okay? These are various things about analysis and all that I don't have time to get into. Now, what happens?
Hey, AG, can you hear me? Can you hear me, AG?
A list of 22 people, you skip traced it, you send.
Oh no, I don't think he can hear us. We are out of time, AG. Poor AG. I wonder if he really thought he had 2 hours.
No, he didn't. I don't think he's able to see a clock.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so AG does have an event coming up, and we're gonna get that in the show notes.
Be like, hey, can you hear us?
All right, let's give him like 60 seconds, see if he wraps up 60
music
seconds.
from like the Grammys, you know, where you play the music to get him off the stage.
I know. Here, let's give him 60 seconds, and then yeah, we'll have to move on to the next speaker.
Yeah. You want to give him 60 seconds?
Yeah, just give him like 60 seconds, and.
Okay.
The system automatically initiates a trigger for you. When the text message is received, the system automatically initiates a trigger for you. Let me show you a very quick example of how that looks like. Here's a trigger of what happens when somebody sends me a text message. All these follow-ups that you can automatically create, right? When somebody calls me or texts me, there's a delay, and there's an automated message sent back. And then, of course, you can make it as complicated as you want. Tuesday, we'll talk more in detail about this, okay? So that's the second key, my friends, automating. The new role of the game is automating your entire follow-up operations, your sifting operations, okay? So let's quickly talk about this before we open it up for questions. New rules of the game, I'll skip this, who this person is. Automated marketing, that's the name of the game, okay? Houseflies. We took a deeper dive. Of course, I did not have a chance to get into some other very powerful tools that you should have in your arsenal. You should absolutely be considering using a platform, whichever platform you choose, that allows you to have access to these tools. You absolutely need an ability to do mass texts. You need the ability to be able to do mass ringless voicemail drops. You'll be surprised how kind of a deal flow that you will be able to get. You need the ability to be.
All right, AG, we're going to drop the comment. We're going to drop it in his upcoming event in the comments. And everything that Real Acquisitions, they put on some amazing events. You definitely want to check him out. He can't hear us, and I feel horrible about booting him because he's a friend and I've gotten to know him over the years. But thank you.
We've got to stay on schedule.
Yeah, we got to stay on schedule.